Super, Amitesh.
Hey, I want flash.
நல்லா பாரு, நிறைய மூளைலாம் உனக்கு இப்போ தான் நிறைய பேர் என்னென்ன பண்ணுறாங்க ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ்லாம் பார்த்து நம்ம சயின்டிஸ்ட் மாதிரி நிறைய யோசிக்கிறோம்.
அதை நான் ஏற்கனவே பண்ணிட்டுப்பா. The few or cross people drink magnet. Magnet இருக்கேன். Drinking magnet என்ன பிளாஸ்டிக் வச்சுக்கலாமா?
ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம்.
இதில் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணேன். அது மட்டும் டால்ஃபின்ஸ் டால்ஃபின்ஸோட சூப்பர் ஸ்விம்மிங்
Morning, everybody. We'd like to welcome to the Hot Glass Show. I'd like to introduce Chris Rochelle. He's our master glass blower this morning, and he's going to make us a beautiful bowl. To get started, he's going to heat up the end of his iron. This is called a blowpipe. It's a hollow stainless steel tube, and we have to make sure the tip of it's hot so the glass will stick to it. That's our reheating furnace over there on that side of the stage. There's no glass inside there. You can actually see inside of it because we have a camera on the back of the furnace. This is our melting furnace. Chris is going to come over here, reach in there with the iron, start rotating it in the glass. And he's going to gather a small amount right on the end of the rod. Now you can see the glass is glowing this bright orange color, and that's because of the temperature. It's 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now he's going to use a wooden spoon called the block. This is going to shape, center, and cool the glass down at the same time. We keep these blocks soaked in water. That lets the glass ride on a pocket of steam. And the second here, he's going to put a little puff of air into the end of the rod, trap that air in there with his thumb, and you're going to see a bubble shoot out to the center of this. See, it doesn't take long, and that bubble shoots right out there. Now he's going to cool this down a little bit. We're going to go back to the furnace, and he's going to gather more glass right over top of it. If he tries to gather on the bubble too hot, it will collapse it. This is just a little compressed air. He's speeding the process up by cooling it down a little faster. So he'll go right back in and cover over that first gather. When he comes out this time, you'll see he'll have about 3 times as much. Again, he's got to continually turn the iron. If he stops, gravity will pull the glass to the floor. He's going to use a larger block and shape the outside while the inside bubble starts to heat back up. Now Chris is making the whole process look very easy. He's been making glass for about 15 years, so he has a lot of experience. He actually got his training in the Steuben Glass Factory. They had an apprenticeship program down there to become a gaffer. It took 6 years of training.
6 years training.
This tool is called a steam pad. It's a graphite felt material that Chris can use his bare hand to shape the glass with. And now you can see he's slowly starting to inflate the bubble. Now it doesn't take a lot of air pressure. It's actually easier than blowing up a balloon. He's blowing softly, inflating the bubble gradually. Now we're going to need to remove the bubble from the blowpipe later on, so he's making a restriction called the jack line. These are steel tools called jacks. And he's making that restriction right off the end of the rod. You can still see there's quite a bit of thickness towards the bottom. As he holds the iron at an angle, gravity elongates the bubble as he inflates it. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of flames burning off the blades of the jacks. We use beeswax to lubricate them so it doesn't stick to the hot glass when he makes that restriction. Now this type of glass that we're using is called a soda lime glass because of the 3 main ingredients. We use silica sand, soda ash, and limestone. Now, if Chris wanted to color this piece, he could have rolled it in crushed up colored glass called frit. We have about 50 different colors over here that we can use. And he would have done that on the first gather, melted the color into the surface, and then gathered over top of it. Now he's got a pretty large bubble. He's going to heat the bottom half of it and start to elongate it a little bit, flatten the bottom, and then we're going to transfer it. Now this reheating furnace, we actually keep this about 300 degrees hotter than our melting furnace. That way it doesn't take as long to heat the glass back up once it cools down. We actually turn that furnace off at night. It takes about an hour and a half to heat it up in the morning. Our melting furnace over here stays running 24 hours a day. It's been running for about 7 years straight. We're going to add a little decoration called a wrap. As soon as Chris is finished shaping the bottom, we're going to trail this right on the side of the piece. I'm going to cool it down just a little bit. Pull this to a little point to make it a little easier for Chris to apply it. So he's going to grab it, pulls it back. I'm just supporting the weight of the iron. You see, he trails it all the way down the side of the piece. Now we're going to transfer it, so I'm going to take a small gather on a little bit larger iron. I'm going to roll it on the table and cool it down. So I'm going to just support the weight of the iron. Chris will stick this right in the center. Let that stiffen up a little bit. Now he's going to add a little water with this file that we have. This is going to weaken that jack line with a slight little tap. The vibration will break it off onto this rod. It doesn't take much, just a little tap, and you can see it breaks right off. Now he's going to spend a little bit of time getting the front hot and soft. The front of it's pretty cold right now, but cold to a glassmaker is about 1,000 degrees. If it falls below 900, it can crack and break. You're going to see Chris stick the piece all the way inside of the furnace. We call it flashing the piece. It's just a quick overall heat. Make sure that the pumpkin stays warm. If that gets too cold, it will just pop up and hit the floor. When Chris comes out, you're going to notice the front of this has got that orange glow to it. It's all because of the heat. He's going to stretch this open with the steel jacks. He's going to take a pair of straight shears. He's going to cut in and around the top of the piece. He's going to do this in 4 places, leaving 4 little points at the top. It's got to work pretty fast. The glass is pretty thin and it cools pretty quickly. Now when he makes those cuts, when the front of it's small, you're going to see how that exaggerates once he starts to flare this open. He wants to get it exactly the way he wants it before he starts to finish it. He's got a pair of tweezers on the end of the bench. He's going to actually pull each one of those points out and stretch it a little bit farther. You really see how soft the glass is. It doesn't have to pull very hard. It's very soft at this point. I'm going to open it up a little bit more. You going to go for it this time, Chris? All right, so you guys are going to want to watch closely. You see the opening's very small right now, but Chris is going to change it pretty dramatically with just one key. And he flashes the piece all the way inside, heating the plenty. He turns nice and slow in the beginning, but as the piece starts to get hot and open up, he's going to start to spin it a little bit faster. You see those 4 points start to grow. It's almost square at the top right now.
என்ன ஆபரேஷன்
When it
பண்றாங்க
comes out, he spins it faster and faster. And when he holds it down, he gets a beautiful shape at the top.
அதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த ஷேப்பை
You guys can
கரெக்டாக
clap for
லைன்ஸ்
Chris. It's a
மாதிரி
nice
மாட்டுவாங்க
job. Beautiful bowl.
அது ஒன்றும் சூப்பர்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேப்பா
Now to remove it, he just places a little bit of water on the plenty where we attached it. A slight little tap and the vibration will break it off onto these gloves.
இது மாதிரி பண்ண முடியுமா
You can really see how it started to turn clear as it cooled down. There you go, a slight little tap and it breaks right out just like that. You have a beautiful clear bowl. Now it's not really finished until we slowly cool it down overnight. It takes about 12 hours to cool a piece this size down. If we just set this on the table, it would crack within a few minutes. He's going to show you how hot it is. You can see that little piece of paper. It doesn't take long to catch right on fire. It's still about 1,000 degrees. Unfortunately, we have a very small oven. This little black box right here is our annealer. And we only have room to save about a third of the pieces that we made. The rest of them get recycled. This is all clear glass. It's 100% recyclable. We're going to put it in this bucket of water. It'll break up into tiny pieces called cullet. And at the end of the day, we're going to shovel it back in the furnace. It's really too bad. It would look really nice on your dining room table. Chris said before the show, if anybody wants it, they can come grab it. They can have it.
அது டூ டேஞ்சரஸ்
Without the
நான்
gloves.
நம்புறேன்
All right, well, there he goes into the bucket.
இப்போ என்ன
I know, it's a shame, huh? How about another big round of applause for Chris? Nice job. All right, we'd like to thank everybody for coming to the show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a lot of things to see and do here in the museum, so enjoy the rest of your day.
I love recycling.
உடச்சாங்க போட்டு